Good evening. The City of Parksville recognizes the people of the Coast Salish Nations and their traditional territory upon which we gather with gratitude tonight. I'd like to call the public hearing for Monday, March 4th, 2019 to order. And if I can ask the corporate officer to introduce the public hearing process and the first item on the agenda, BYLAW 2000.122.
Thank you, Your Worship. The Local Government Act requires that a public hearing be held before Council adopts an amendment to the zoning bylaw or official community plan bylaw. Hard copies of the staff reports and related information respecting the subject amendment bylaws have been available for public examination at City Hall, located at 100 Jensen Avenue East in the Parksville Civic and Technology Centre since January 22nd, 2019. At this public hearing, all persons who believe their interest in property to be affected by the proposed bylaw shall be afforded an opportunity to be heard on matters contained within the bylaws. Anyone wishing to be heard on the bylaw amendments must come to the microphone at the appropriate time and clearly state their name and civic address or city of residence. Council requests that speakers restrict their presentations to the items in the proposed bylaws. The purpose of a public hearing is for Council to hear from interested persons in relation to the impact of the proposed bylaws on their property. Council's authority is limited to regulation or prohibition in relation to the use of land. Council does not have the authority to regulate or prohibit in relation to users of land. As such, Council requests that speakers restrict their presentations to the proposed bylaws and the permitted uses under the bylaws, and refrain from any comment in relation to possible users of the subject property. Council will not tolerate inappropriate personal attacks or comments which are believed to be discriminatory or defamatory in nature. The function of Council this evening, again, is to listen to public presentations and not to engage in debate. Whether you are for or against the proposed bylaw, during the course of the public hearing, Council will ask that you do not display outbursts as a courtesy to all of those present here this evening. Council asks that you treat all speakers with respect and neither cheer or applaud when you agree with a speaker's presentation, nor jeer or boo when you disagree with a speaker's presentation. Council wishes to ensure that every speaker has a fair opportunity to be heard, that the environment at the public hearing is a positive one, and that individuals do not feel uncomfortable or intimidated from expressing their views, whether those are in support of or opposition to the proposed bylaw. Council will again not tolerate comments or behavior that could be perceived as being intimidating or creating a negative environment which would deter people from speaking. No presentations or submissions will be received by Council on the proposed bylaw after the motion for a termination of the public hearing has been adopted. This evening there is one item on the agenda, and that is Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2018, number 2000.122. This proposes to add a Downtown Residential Commercial Zone, DRC-1 zone, to alter the zoning map from the single-family residential, RS1 zone, to this new Downtown Residential Commercial Zone in order to allow apartments, multiple family residential development, retail, offices, parking, or a combination of these uses at the following properties: 106 Jensen Avenue West, legally described as Lot 10, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 110 Jensen Avenue West, which is legally described as Lot 11, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 114 Jensen Avenue West, which is legally described as Lot 12, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 120 Jensen Avenue West, legally described as Lot 13, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 126 Jensen Avenue West, legally described as Lot 14, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 132 Jensen Avenue West, which is legally described as Lot 15, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 6221, 140 Jensen Avenue West, which is legally described as Lot 2, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 7042, and 212 Alberni Highway, legally described as Lot 1, District Lot 14, Namuse District, Plan 7042. As of 4 p.m. on March the 4th, 2019, 2 items of correspondence have been received in response to the applications. Both items were received prior to the public notification process but have been included for council consideration as part of the public record. The first piece of correspondence was received from the Oceanside Development and Construction Association and contained a number of questions regarding the purpose of the rezoning, the public engagement and notification process, the timeline of the rezoning, and possible rezoning of other properties in the downtown area. And the second piece of correspondence is from a resident, Ms. Rose, expressing concerns about the loss of parking on the subject properties and negative impacts on downtown businesses as a result of this loss of parking.
Thank you. I'd like to invite anyone who would like to speak to come forward to the microphone up at the front and give their name and civic address for the record. So I'll just get Ms. Ross to show you the button to everyone can hear you.
Okay, now you can hear me. My address, my name first of all is Elaine Lefebvre, and my address is 284 Chestnut Street here in Parksville. And acting mayor and councillors, I'm speaking to this proposal. I'm speaking today because I'm concerned that not only are we losing our urban forest as we look around us, but our green space. And this proposal is certainly one area where it will be lost. There are some nice trees in this grassy block, the only green space around City Hall. Trees and grass are more appealing and welcoming than concrete and glass, especially around an area that invites the public, like City Hall. I think we have enough hard space in this area already. Not only this, but we are adding to the demolition of our urban forest, which many of us residents really value. We appreciated the urban forest when we moved here, so we don't want to see it all disappear. We are losing that charm and quaintness that made Parksville so appealing. If we wanted a big city mentality or more shopping malls, we could have stayed in Edmonton. Also, I noted that the proposal is to have 3-story buildings with setbacks of 2 meters, which only adds to the problem of too much density in a small space. Plus, there are already parking problems for those of us who are going to City Hall or the conference center, and this proposal will only worsen this problem. Too much activity, too many buildings, too busy, and even if the parking is underground, the idea of multiple apartments and residences, plus retail and office space, is too much for this small area. I hope that the city takes a step back and considers what kind of city they want and what our resident population wants. I think council should consider not just building with the idea of tax revenue, but with the idea of the quality of our city, which is just as important, if not more important, than development without sufficient boundaries. Indeed, I believe that future development should be looked at in a thoughtful and reflective manner, especially in light of the repercussions of climate change. And that is my opinion. Thank you very much, councillors.
Mrs. Lefebvre, since you wrote that out, would you like it to be part of the correspondence and give to the staff as well?
Should I give it?
It was well thought out.
Thank you.
Are we on? My name is Valerie Tootie, and I live at 110 Lee Avenue. So what you're doing is my front yard. I'm most interested to know, it says that there's 3 stories. Are there 3 stories for all the properties, or just the center properties, or does it go from 106 right through to the land? Can anyone answer that for me?
The purpose of a public hearing is to hear your comments. We don't generally...
Well, I didn't think it was clear on the plan that was submitted that we could look at. It said up to 3 stories, but no limits on that.
And then direct to our CAO.
So, Mayor Worship, staff is available to clarify the zoning height, if that would be of assistance to council, through Director Russell.
Director Russell?
If I may, Your Worship, the zoning bylaw would allow for a default height of 11 meters. Through a development permit, council could consider a maximum height of 15 meters. So 11 meters is typical of a 3-story development. 15 meters would be typical of a 4-story development.
And there is no restriction on placement of that. So it's for everything.
If I may, Your Worship, there's a default setback of 4 meters from the ends, from basically the perimeter of the site, but not on any specific location of the property.
Thank you. I guess that answers. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Mara Nord. I currently reside at 1160 Plummer Road. I will be residing at 124 Lee Avenue as of May 1st. I'm representing the property owner who owns 124 and 128, which I co-manage with her. It is 128 is a rental. They have owned the homes there quite a few years. The concerns are with the parking. If you take away the lot, the parking out in front of the home is going to become something that is going to be congested and lots of traffic. There are lots of families on that road. The other thing is, again, they're concerned about how high this is going to go, blocking their homes from the views that have already been there, and what kind of retail outlets are going to go in, what kind of traffic there will be. And they're wondering about if there will be rezoning for parking garage, or what kind of options are available, but I understand you can't answer questions. So the concern at this point in time is how high the buildings will go and the lack of parking in that area. Thank you.
Thank you. And now for a second time, I'd invite anyone who'd like to come to speak to come forward. You're welcome to speak again if you so wish.
Hi, my name is Michelle Jones, and I work at 177 Weld Street here in Parksville and own the building. I'm here tonight to speak on behalf of the Oceanside Development and Construction Association. Our association has been representing the construction and development industries on Vancouver Island for the past 20 years. And this industry is a significant contributor to the local economy. And we're the 4th largest employment group in this area. So just to give us a little bit of a plug. With respect to this rezoning, as was in our previous letter, our comments are more to do with the process than the zoning itself. The zoning itself is pretty straightforward and doesn't really have too many things that we would be concerned with. But we noticed the city indicated that its intent in proceeding, am I loud or is it just me? Its intent in proceeding with this zoning amendment bylaw was to begin the public process, the public dialogue on the future of the processes. And in our experience, that's not how you begin it with a public hearing. You begin the process with public information meetings and open houses. And we really think that the city should have an open house for the whole community to discuss this property and the rezoning. As was stated earlier, at the end of this council meeting or this public hearing, people cannot talk to council again. So anything that's brought up tonight that someone in the audience or someone who listens to this online or reads in the paper, they won't be able to get their opinion across. So at this point, what we would like to request council to do is to maybe suspend the rezoning or delay the rezoning and hold a public information meeting for the whole community to come out. People have a little bit more comfort speaking at a public information meeting than they do a public hearing. They don't have to get up at a microphone. They can speak their mind one-on-one, and I think it'll just be better. And tonight on your agenda, you have another similar rezoning on the Island Highway that is just a rezoning. It's not a specific plan, but the first thing that's recommended in that is a public information meeting. So I think the city should follow their standard policy and have a public information meeting for the community to come out and discuss it. That's all I have. Thanks.
And for a third and final time, I'd invite anyone who would like to speak to come forward. And as I mentioned, you can speak again if you have any other comments that you'd like to make. I'd like to ask for a motion to receive the two pieces of correspondence for Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2018, number 2000.122, and that the two pieces of correspondence regarding the proposed Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw 2018, number 2000.122 be received. Moved by Councillor Chandler, seconded by Councillor Fraz. All those in favor? And that's carried. And at this time, I'd like to ask for a motion to terminate the public hearing for Zoning and Development Amendment Bylaw number 2018, number 2000.122. Councillor Wilson and Councillor O'Brien. And all those in favor? Opposed? That's carried. I'd like to advise the public that once the public hearing has adjourned, that council cannot entertain further submissions or correspondence from the public on the proposed bylaw. And at the conclusion of the public hearing, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn. But at this time, based on the comments that were heard in the audience and not tonight, I'd like to put forward a motion that the city hold a public information hearing on this property and delay or suspend the hearing. Can I have a seconder? Not seeing one. I'll ask for a mover and a seconder for adjournment of the public hearing.